Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountryshootcottage.net. So we're here today with another Cricut project. This time we're using the new Cricut Infusible Ink. So if you've not seen the Infusible Ink before, it comes in sheets and pens and markers, but we're going to use the sheets today. We're going to use a black sheet on a 100% polyester blanket to make a custom blanket for your home. So this one I customized with the last name as well as an established date when the couple got married. So this would make an amazing wedding gift. This blanket is actually huge and I have the rest thrown behind me. But you can do this on any size thrower blanket. The key is that it needs to be a 100% polyester blanket in order to react with the Infusible Ink. So that's the only key to completing this project with success. So let's start by looking at what we'll need to make this project. For this project you'll need your Infusible Ink transfer sheet. So I'm going to use the black out of this package. Need a lint roller, butcher paper, white cardstock, a blanket. Again, the blanket needs to be 100% polyester blanket, and I just picked this one up from Target. And then you'll need your Cricut Easy Press as well as the Easy Press mat. Now, I'm using my largest Easy Press. This is a very big design. I'm actually going to have to press it twice. I would recommend the largest Easy Press you have for this project and try not to press it once would be ideal, but definitely not more than twice. First thing I did was to cut my Infusible Ink sheet on the Cricut. So first let's look at the design itself because there is some things that you're going to need to do to personalize this cut file. When you open up Cricut Design Space, your canvas will look something like this. You can use the buttons at the bottom to actually zoom out or in depending on how big it is. And now we want to add text. We're going to add text in the font Merlot. This is a Cricut font and it is an access font. And then you can type your last name. And it will look something like this. So the letters will be separated. Now you can adjust the letter spacing in the toolbar. However, the letters all need to be moved a different amount. So when we do this, you can see that they're still not going to be right no matter how much we change the letter spacing. So we're going to pick our word and we are going to ungroup to letters. And now we can move all the letters around independently. So you can do this design however you like. And we're going to zoom in on it a little bit and then just start moving each of the letters independently until you get the last name that you want. So you want this to look like cursive handwriting. So be sure that the letters are touching just like they would if you were writing in cursive. Then once you're happy with it, pick all the letters and click weld. And once you do this, you won't be able to make any changes. So keep that in mind. And then we can zoom out. We can move this inside our wreath. Now the established text, you can actually just double click that and you can change the year if you would like. So you don't have to change it at all. And then we can resize everything. And then you will need to locate each of the pieces depending on what your name looks like. So you want them to look good together as a group. Because I have the P hanging down, I might have to move the established down a little bit. And then you want to pick all three, click align, center horizontally. And that centers everything up, and now you're ready to make it. So you can find the cut file for this in the description below. You can find a link for that. Now, the first thing you might notice is that this Infusible Ink sheet looks brown, whereas the box showed it as black. The Infusible Ink will darken as you press it. The only thing I will say is that on a colored surface like this, so this is a gray surface, some of the gray might show through the Infusible Ink, so the color might be altered. It may not be a pure black, but rather a dark gray, but that was okay with me. But you could get a white blanket and do the black to get a pure black design. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the Infusible Ink from my mat. And if you have never used Infusible ink before, we have a video all about the basics. So you can head to the description below and I will link that video for you. And that way you'll kind of understand more about what we're doing. But we're just going to kind of run through the process right now. So the first thing we're going to do is weed it away. You do not want to use weeding tools for this. You just want to slowly pull it back. And you can bend it and sort of crack the design. And then just keep peeling it away. If there's any pieces that don't want to come off, I would use a pair of tweezers, but no weeding tools, as you could scratch the ink sheet. You will notice that I mirrored my design before cutting, so that's important. I also actually cut this twice. So I cut it on Infusible ink setting, more pressure, and then when it was done cutting, I did not remove the mat from the machine, press the C again, and let it cut a second time. So the Infusible ink itself, different colors react differently in the Cricut machine, and some are thicker than others. And I find the black to be slightly thicker. And then also, this design is really hard to weed, so how everything goes in every single direction. And so I found that was the easiest way to get it done. And there will be some places on the sheet where the cuts come all the way through, but that is okay. But it will make it a lot easier to weed if you do that. So if you're using a different color for this project, what I would recommend is to slice one of these hearts or whatever you want to call these out and put it in the corner and do a test cut and see if it's going to cut all the way through and how it's going to weed. And if it's not, then play with the settings. Do another test cut in the next corner and just keep working like that until you get a really good cut, and then cut your entire design. So I'm just going to keep weeding away, and then we will talk about how to press this onto our blanket. Now once we have everything weeded, we can start to press. So I have my Easy Press mat, and I'm going to put cardstock down to protect my mat. And then I'm going to put the corner of this blanket down. So I want my design to be sort of in the corner of the blanket. And I can actually kind of lay the design and get an approximate location. Then I'm going to arrange my cardstock underneath this. Now I want to just use a lint roller across the surface. And I'm also going to use the lint roller to make sure all those little fibers are going in the same direction, because it's like a fuzzy blanket. And then we're just going to put the butcher paper on top of here. And we just want to heat the area for about 15 seconds or so. So I'm going to heat down low and up high and kind of to the sides because we want a really large area prepared. And once we're done with that, we can set the Easy Press to the side and remove that butcher paper. So we'll want to let this cool. So if you add the Infusible ink right now, it can actually start to transfer, and it could ghost if you move it. So we're going to let this cool down where it's cool to the touch. And again, we want all these pieces to go in the same direction. So we're going to make sure all that's in the same direction. Then we'll just lay our design onto our blanket. Now this paper is sticky, so once I press it down, it should stay in place. And I'm going to make sure that that cardstock is underneath to protect my Easy Press mat. I'm going to cover this with the butcher paper, and we are going to press at 385 for 40 seconds. Using medium pressure to press down. So once we press that for 40 seconds, we're going to lift straight up, move it over, press for another 40 seconds. So this is just to get the rest of the design. The Easy Press wasn't quite big enough to go all the way from side to side. So once it's done pressing that second time, I'm just going to lift it straight up, set it on its base. And we can peel back this butcher paper. And now this is really hot, so I would wait a little while, allow it to cool, and then we'll sort of peel back that Infusible Ink sheet and reveal our design. So once it's cooled a little bit, we can start lifting this back. So some of these are trying to stay on the blanket, and we can lift those with a pair of tweezers, and you can do that as you're lifting, and actually they're peeling up. Or you can wait to the end. So you can see the black has transferred, and it's really black. I was expecting it to be a little more gray than that, because like I talked about, the blanket is gray, but it actually looks really, really good. You may be able to see the T stayed in place on my blanket, so I'll lift that with some tweezers after I get everything off of here. Alright. And then we'll just lift the T and the 1 actually stayed in place. Now, there's our design, Infusible Ink on a polyester blanket. So there you have it, a gorgeous blanket all in a couple of minutes, customized with your Cricut machine and Infusible Ink. So I hope you all enjoyed this project. If you did, give us a thumbs up. I will also drop some links in the description below for like Infusible Ink if you have any questions about it. But you can always ask those in the comment section as well, and I'll either point you to a video that answers your question or I'll answer it in the comment section. So drop those comments and questions below. You'll also want to head to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you don't already. We have tons of Cricut videos. We have a new one every week, and you don't want to miss any of those. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the fun. So thank you all so much for joining me this week for an Infusible Ink project using a blanket. I will see you next week with another fun Cricut project. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.